All right, I'm joined by Roman Kepczyk as we take a look back at 2025. Roman, as you look back at your year, what was the biggest lesson you think that you learned in 2025?
Well, I think the biggest lesson had to be the change in focus from generative AI to include also agentic AI. Basically, I think agentic AI is going to change the accounting profession and all finance altogether just because of the capabilities that brought to the forefront.
And when you talk agentic AI, you're talking about the ability for AI to do more than just answer a question. Hey, I need you to rewrite this email for me. You're talking where it can actually do functions, correct?
You're exactly right. Generative AI is kind of like Google search on steroids that gives you answers. Agentic allows you to go beyond the large language model into other databases, other stores, other applications, and basically have those two link together and function. So imagine the ability to download transactions from your payroll provider into your QuickBooks on an automated basis beyond the API and to identify anomalies and notify you of that um, as opposed to just stopping processing. That's what agentic AI is capable of.
And of course, agentic coming from the word agent, meaning autonomous, able to do something on its own, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome. So again, focusing on 2025 for you, um, Roman in particular, what was your favorite victory, biggest achievement in 2025?
Yep. Well, I know most people know me from my speaking and writing, but what I really do in the background, most of my functioning inside of Rightworks is being an outsourced technology consultant to accounting firms doing firm process optimization, workflow analysis. And of course, in the last year, we worked with more than half a dozen of the private equity groups. And we've seen some of the private equity groups do a really good job of identifying their ideal firm they're going to acquire that fits into their practice, their ideal client, and they've built a tech stack around that. We've seen some of them have been more aggressive at acquiring than developing the infrastructure they needed in the tech stack. And so probably my biggest victory was working with one of the larger groups and identifying I'll say, a non-traditional tech stack. We bucked the conventional standards or wisdoms that you have to go with this tax application, this document management, this practice, and all that. And when we really took a good look at their specific types of clients they had, the type of contracts, the regions they were in, the work they were going into, we realized there was a alternative tech stack built around their tax program that was actually better suited to their needs, even though everyone told them they had to go to another product. And it allowed them to actually experience seven-figure savings over an annualized basis without any loss of productivity.
Was there anything that surprised you this year, either positively or negative? Is there anything that caught you off guard in 25?
Well, I will admit MCP, Model Context Protocol, in February and March when it was rolled out, the fact that OpenAI ChatGPT adopted that standard, which was Microsoft standard. It was a standard being utilized by Google. It was developed by Anthropic Claude and Amazon. Once ChatGPT picked it up, that opened the doors to that Model Context Protocol agents working for us. And I was caught off guard, honestly. But what I did do is it forced me to really quickly revamp all my presentations to really study what was going on, what was being, I'll say, optimized in the fintech market space. That's the Fortune 1000 corporate finance groups and all that, and realize all of that is having a significant impact on how business information moves through a system. So for accountants, it lays the groundwork for how agentic AI is going to make finance and our accounting applications work more effectively in the next couple of years.
Fair to say MCP was and is crucial to the advent of agentic AI.
Absolutely. I mean, a guy named Bernard Marr, who writes for Forbes magazine, he described it as the USB of AI. So when we think about all the different connectors we had in the past, how USB-C brought it all together where we could connect to absolutely anything. Well, anybody who has that protocol, whether it's a payroll system, an accounting system, a wealth management group, a store, an inventory, whatever application that is, you can securely transfer data between those two and ask the agent to do it. And it'll do it autonomously. It'll correct itself and work it as long as it knows what the goal is to get the information and what to do with it.
I like the term USB. I took it a step further in a talk that I delivered a couple of weeks ago. I said, if you're not familiar with MCP and an MCP server, think of it like the dongle that you need to have so that you can connect your computer anywhere you go to any screen or any peripherals. MCP serves as that dongle for you.
Absolutely. And I think what you'll see in the next year is the accounting vendors will start delivering agentic AI connections and tools that go beyond the robotic process automation and APIs that we've had. And it'll give us understanding and guidance so that we can successfully adopt it in our firms.
Okay, continuing on with that, as we look into 2026, let's stick with AI. The AI evolution. Two-part question. First of all, in 26, how do you see AI at large continuing to evolve within the accounting industry?
Okay, within the accounting industry, I'll expect to see a lot of adoption of tools like BlueJ, like CoCounsel, the major vendors of like practice management systems and tax systems, providing us tools and features that utilize agentic AI, as well as the generative AI. Now, we've seen already the generative AI components, like how do I respond to an email? How do I review my emails and give a first draft to you, Derek, so that you can, customize it or make sure it's valid for what you want to say to that client. But then secondly, it'll actually start doing processes for us. We saw, for instance, Intuit already announced agentic AI tools that work with QuickBooks. And so again, those will be the first that roll out to us. And then I think what we'll see as our auditors go into the field working with clients, their clients that are in the financial arena will, the CFOs, controllers, they'll adopt Copilot and other tools that provide reporting. And all of a sudden that'll expand our understanding of both generative and agentic AI in our firms.
Second part of the question, Roman Kepczyk, how do you anticipate your personal use of AI evolving in 2026?
Well, in 2025, I really have transitioned to using generative AI tools like ChatGPT and Copilot for expanding my research, doing deep understanding and knowledge and those kind of things. I anticipate that the first part of 2026, after I finish my January presentations and consulting, my goal is to do a deep dive on the vendors in the accounting profession that have actually implemented those agentic AI tools and understand how they work, what's real and what's hype, because that's what we want to present to our communities and share the positive experiences that are working so we can all improve our AI knowledge and experience.
At large, as you try and make a Nostradamus-like prediction or series of predictions for 26, what do you see changing within the accounting profession?
Well, I think we'll see like tax research, document management workflow tools will probably come to the forefront of things we want to change with AI that's out there. I don't think we'll change our tax applications in the next 2 or 3 years, but there's been a lot of, I'll say, frustration with those traditional document management workflow tools not expanding enough. So I expect to see a lot of firms looking for solutions and non-traditional vendors, particularly in the practice management workflow space, enter in and do very well. And there'll be a lot of them in the beginning, through next summer into the fall. But after that, I think it'll settle down and we'll have some primary products that we can all rely upon.
Sort of the blue ocean effect now. AI has brought about an ability for smaller players, as you said, the non-traditional vendors and applications, to begin to step up their game, which in turn creates the change within the industry that firms are looking for.
Absolutely. AI is a great democratizer, and the vendors that are developing these tools, I think smaller and medium firms that are are actually have an advantage because they can change very quickly, as opposed to going through a larger firm that might have a committee that has to analyze it, has to do a pilot program and all those kind of things.
What is one thing you hope doesn't happen in 26?
Well, I'll be honest, my biggest fear is, I get involved with the cybersecurity, so I know the impact of what that happens on firms. And as we get into this quantum computing and the use of the hackers, of AI in the hacker groups and all that, that scares me that we could have a major, I'll say, national cyber event. That scares me the most, whether it's accounting firms or even at the federal government level. That is something that we know is accelerating very rapidly, the technology that they're using. And we hope that the cyber protection companies, the security companies, are able to stay up with those advances that the hackers are getting access to.
Roman, you're a big movie buff. You and I talk a lot of movies. What's one movie that you're really looking forward to in 2026?
I will be honest, my older son and I tend to like war movies, and Sisu is coming out. Actually, it might be before that. It's coming out soon. That's the one we are getting ready to look at and watch as part of the. It's something my wife and my younger son would not want to watch, but we're looking forward to that.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, Roman.